Welcome back to Off the Monster. I am Robert Taylor. I'm here with Derek Stats Masterson McGuire, Jeff Brown, Mr. Jeremy, and ladies and gentlemen, hold the fucking phone. We have Red Sox podcast royalty, Mr. Joey Capponi. Welcome to Off the Monster, Mr. Capponi. We are honored to have you, sir. Please tell us a little bit about yourself, and thank you again for joining us.
Hey, thank you for having me on, guys. I really appreciate it. Excited to be here. So like you said, currently a co-host of ITM with Sports Illustrated. Show was formerly Inside the Monster when we were with Odyssey. We were the team's official show, blah, blah, blah. That is no longer the case, probably for the better. So we are now a little more free to say as we please, do as we wish without any constraints. So yeah, we moved over to Sports Illustrated right after the season ended. So I haven't even done a show with SI since there's been baseball on. So we've had 0 games to recap, which is strange. It feels like we've been there for a while. But yeah, so started that last year. Inside the Monster lasted exactly 1 season. Before that, I come over from Lumberland, which is a real hit or miss whether or not people know who that is. It's big TikTok group. That was kind of our thing, TikTok and YouTube stuff. So Steve and I collaborated on some content over there. And then when Steve left Section 10, Steve Peralt, that is, when he left Section 10, he hit me up, said he was looking for a co-host. I submitted an audition, and somehow here I am.
Fucking A, man. We are, just enamored to have you here. One thing I do want to get on the record, your beard is better than mine, and that pisses me off to start because I take a lot of pride in this facial hair here, but you're rocking it, dude. It suits you very well. So I've got that on the fucking record.
Thank you, man. So, well, the thing is, so me and Steve looked a little similar. So you have to differentiate yourself a little bit. You know what I mean? I lost my glasses, so I couldn't be the glasses guy. I was like, I'll be the beard guy. And this has happened. I didn't even know I could do this. So I appreciate that.
I am the glasses guy then.
You gotta have one.
You gotta have one. Looking at Mr. Peralt, I don't think he looks like he can grow a beard. He just has that kind of baby face about him. And I've seen several of you guys' your work, and I'm like, that dude he must not even have to really shave. And I'm kind of jealous. No shot whatsoever. But you're rocking it, brother. Love it. Don't get rid of it. It worked very well for you.
I feel naked. I had a beard for a long time. I shaved it, had the mustache. I saw Kiki's mustache. I first saw Cassis's mustache, which is, for a guy, it's glorious. I'll say it. I'll admit it right here and now. He has a fantastic mustache. And I was really hoping this team would take the role of like the 2013 with the beards and maybe go with the summer of the season of stash. A sock stash, something like that. Maybe it'll still happen. I don't know. There's some young guys on that team that probably can't grow much facial hair, but we'll see. Stats, where we going, man?
This is a Red Sox team that's very interesting. I know some people talk about the ups. We normally do. We try and be positive. Some people do focus on the downs. But let's start on one of the most improved pieces of this Red Sox team. That's got to be the bullpen. They brought in a bunch of guys. Although Kenley Jansen now has an extra rule change because the MLB said him coming set is illegal because how he flips his hips, I guess, and whatever. So he's got that and the pitch clock to work with. How are you feeling about this bullpen, Joey? Liking it? How you feel about the additions? Or just guys who do you think should be in the bullpen that maybe don't start, the fringe starters or guys who are fighting for a rotation spot?
Yeah, well, like you said, the bullpen is kind of viewed right now as the brightest spot of the team. And I think a lot of that we're just going off faith because there are, I believe, 2 familiar faces in the bullpen as of this moment. Because I think if you go off what the team has said, they plan to run a traditional 5-man rotation, but right now they technically have 7 in there because they say that Tanner Houck and Garrett Whitlock are both starters. So as of this moment, it's really Ryan Brazier and
Schreiber are really the only 2 technically locked in the bullpen arms that we've seen. But all good things about the other guys. So, I mean, it's a lot of going off faith and going off word. Kenley, from what I've heard, so the balk
rule that they're introducing, or not introducing, but they're more strictly enforcing going forward. It sounds like Kenley's only facing some, he's toeing the line a little bit on when he's pitching from the stretch. So it is weird that it's kind of like both aspects of his game are going to be affected, where his, his regular windup or his regular pitch speed has to change. And then coming out of the stretch, he has a whole new delivery. He has to change his mechanics. So I'm a little worried about that. I am stoked to hear that he's going to be skipping the WBC and sticking with the team. There's some word about him maybe participating if they went to the semis and the WBC did come back to Miami. I'm pretty sure this week he said he's not competing at all in the WBC though.
Yeah. Well, that's what he said, but who knows if they do get to the semis, you can't count it out. I think that's where it is.
Kenley seems like a guy, just based off the very few clips that I've seen of him, in the past week, he seems like he's aware of how much effort he's got to put in and how much dedication he's going to have to do to change these things because of these rule changes. I don't see him really participating, which I think is for the best. I mean, I don't know. I can't picture him pitching from the stretch, so I don't know what his violation is. I know it's something with his hips, like you said.
It's like he turned. It's like he almost like you see when quarterbacks when they're warming up and they flip their hips, his right foot stays down. And he like kind of turns his hip and also like almost like lifts his leg off the ground after he comes. Like it's in his process of coming set. He comes like set almost, and just as he's coming set, he like turns his hips and like flips his like leg and then actually comes set. So it's like a thing of like, when they're coming set, when they start the pitch clock, it's when they initially lift the leg, and they don't want not when they stop it in terms of like when it's counting down from 20 or whatever the number is to 0. It's like the thing of like, it stops when the pitcher picks up his leg. And if they don't know when he's picking up his leg, because they accidentally stop it the first time, then it's, all that stuff.
Makes sense. Yeah. So if it's a major mechanic and it sounds like it's something that's really integrated into his pitch, I think that's going to take a little bit of time. The guy that nobody's talking about yet that this is going to affect, I think, too, is Blyer. Blyer famously had 3 balks in 1 inning last year, and that's basically the only thing I know about him. So that's kind of working against him, that I don't have like a full idea of his entire catalog. But when that's the only thing I know about you and they're going to more strictly enforce box, it's hard not to think that that's going to affect him as well. But I mean, the bullpen in general, man, I mean, once Houck and Whitlock, because that's presumably who's going to be back in there, maybe Paxton. There's talk about it being Paxton. I don't see that. I think that's going to be the strong point of your team. I don't think that there's any doubt about that. It's certainly not the rotation, but I think that the lineup might contend for that number 1 spot, but there's a whole bunch of ifs in that lineup right now.
I will tell you, Richard Blyer was a teammate of Chris Sales at FGCU. I will say that. There's also another thing. Hey, my fun facts. Let's go around the table though, and who's going to be maybe the biggest piece or most important piece? Maybe not the best guy, because sometimes the best guy, isn't always the biggest piece in terms of stopping the other team, because sometimes your best guy's your closer and you have a really good setup man who maybe could be more important. So let's go around the table. Start with Mr. Taylor. We'll go Mr. Brown, Jeremy, myself, and then we'll wrap it up with Joey. Who's going to be the biggest piece in the Red Sox bullpen?
Ryan Brazier is going to be the biggest piece.
You don't even. Oh man.
Come on,
I don't
man.
even know if we're friends now.
I had to go down that road for you. I mean, quite honestly, the biggest piece to me is going to be Jensen. We have a closer for the first time in 3 seasons. I mean, I think he had 42 last year for Atlanta, if I'm not mistaken. He's been electric his entire career. Unfortunately for him, when he played for LA, we kind of lit him up a little bit in the 2018 World Series, which was awesome for us. But I mean, the guy's, I think he's 35. He still throws in the mid 90s. He's got a World Series pedigree. He's got playoff pedigree. And I think he's going to do really well in Boston. He's going to play really well on the back end. And because he's a veteran guy, he's going to help some of the other guys as well that we brought in. And just kind of go from there and see what he can bring to the table, because that was really our biggest problem. You and I have talked about this before, and we talked about this on the last podcast, that the guys, we blew 28 save opportunities last year. And if we can win half of those, and that magic number of 14 I talked about, and we win 79 games, which we're projected to do, that's 92 wins. That's a playoff team. So the bullpen is the biggest piece to this mystery that was 2022. We've got Chris Martin. I think the guy's name is Joey Rodriguez. I don't know much about him at all. Chris Martin, when I saw the tweet that went out, I was like, the fucking dude from Coldplay is pitching for the Red Sox now. But you've got Jensen. I think is the biggest piece, and I'm excited to see him coming. I want to know what his song is when he comes out of the bullpen, because the last time I heard a song was when Craig Kimbrell came out, and it was a Ted Nugent song. God, the name escapes me right now, but I can hear it as he's coming out. But yeah, that's where I'm at with the bullpen. Is I think Jensen is the biggest piece.
Mr. Brown.
I think it's somebody who's not there right now. I truly think Tanner Houck is going to find his way back just because of his youth. He's the first man out just because you got a lot of veterans on that starting rotation. And Jeremy, don't hit me. Don't come through the screen. I think Ryan Brazier is going to have a kind of a comeback year too. He was overplayed the last couple of years. You play teams, especially the AL East, where you're playing 18, 19 games a season against these teams. They're going to just destroy you over time. And that's what happened to Ryan Brazier. When he first came up a few years ago, his lefty prowess, it worked for a pitcher or two. Do I like that he still has to, depending on when he comes into the inning, of course, does he still have to pitch to three guys, or can he get in with just being that lefty specialist? I think Ryan Brazier is going to have a bounce back year. And like I said, Jeremy, don't hate me on that one. But I think Tanner Houck is going to find himself in that 6-7 inning. I think he's going to be that 6-7 inning guy, just because you do have a lot of guys. We got some bulls in that lineup. I know there's a lot of naysayers with the rotation. We'll talk about that. And the way the league has gone, I mean, most guys, on these teams, 6 innings is a great outing these days. I remember Roger Clemens, he was going 8-9 innings every game, but that's another story for another time.
Yeah, Jeremy, who are you picking? Who are we picking? Come on, not Ryan Brazier.
So
right?
It's not Ryan Brazier, but I do want to make a comment on it though. Right. I always asked, why is he on the team? I got an answer from Chaim Bloom. It's respectable. Pitching staff worked with him. He was willing to change some mechanics and stuff, and he did get better towards the end of last year by listening to them. So I still disagree with it, but hey, it's an answer. I can respect it. So to me though, I don't think it's him though. I think a very big piece to this is your combination of Whitlock and Tanner Houck. Both of them, I know they're not officially in the bullpen, but to me, those are your guys that are going to come in early in games in high leverage situations, and can they eat innings? If both of them can do that and keep the rest of that bullpen down, then I think it's going to be one of the strongest points we have in this team. And as we've seen over the years with bullpens, if you have a strong lights out bullpen, you're going to compete for the playoffs at least. And the Brewers have done it for years. Other teams have done it for years. And I think that's what it boils down to. Those two guys, if they can eat the innings, because, Whitlock has played a little bit with being a starter. And I know some people want him there. I disagree. I think he is set up to be that guy. He comes in early for high leverage situations in case your starter doesn't have it, and he can eat innings for you. And same thing with Tanner Houck.
Yeah, I'll go with this. The most important bullpen guy's gonna be Alex Verdugo because he made two-way play. I'm joking. No, I'm gonna go with I'm gonna buy the upside on Joey Rodriguez. It's a little out there, but also too, you look at the lefties in this pen, it's him and it's Blyer, and I think they complement each other very well. I feel like Blyer's kind of the guy. He's gonna be steady. He's not gonna. You kind of know what you're gonna get out of him. Joely, it's like you're looking at him. It's like there's upside there, and I'm gonna buy that upside a little bit. Is it optimistic? Yes. But you just go look at his baseball savant page, and I know people have tweeted it out all off season, especially when they signed him. But he's got the upside if he can limit the walks, and that's kind of it. Limit the walks. I think he had over 4 walks per 9 last year, something like that. Outrageous. So yeah, less walks. Hopefully he's good. Joey, wrap us up with this. Who's your biggest piece in the bullpen?
I'm just gonna go with the easy answer. That's John Schreiber. I'm stunned. I was the first to say him. It's John.
I was
Schreiber.
gonna say him, but I didn't want to take him away in case you're gonna say him.
Yeah, I mean it's hard not to. So, it's. I will say I understand why some people might think that he was kind of a flash in the pan kind of situation because he did have an outrageous year, and I don't expect him to come back and have a 2.2 ERA again and have what was it 16 consecutive scoreless appearances. Like I don't necessarily expect that again, but we had him on ITM not too long ago, and he talked about his biggest thing going into last year that he felt benefited him the most, and he said it was his preparation. He just didn't realize that he wasn't throwing enough in the offseason, and that when he showed up to camp and actually felt warm before he got there and felt like he had been throwing enough, like he knew right away. He's like, this is going to be my year. Like I've never felt this good. And when we talked to him a few weeks ago, he said he ramped it up even more. He's like, I'm feeling better. So I think when you have a guy who has a good season and knows why he had a good season and then continues to do those things, he's integrated a two-seamer into if you look at the number, it technically, if you look at his Savant, I don't even think it recognizes it as a two-seamer. I think it has it as a cutter.
I think they have him as a fastball and a sinker.
Yeah. But he did change pitch grips mid-year, and he also shaved his beard mid-year, which also helped his ERA quite a bit. So look out for that to happen again, perhaps. But yeah, I'm going Schreiber. I would say Whitlock, but as of right now, one, he's a starter, and the other thing is that I don't think moving him again helps him. I think if they're saying he's a starter, leave him as a starter. If they're going to put him in the bullpen, put him in the bullpen. I'm on team bullpen, but what you can't do is just move him back and forth and expect that he's going to be great no matter where you stick him. It doesn't work like that. No,
Yeah.
You're going to overwork him and you're going to mess with his preparation, and just leave him be wherever you put him.
Yeah, I've seen some people say like this is the year to figure out if he can actually start. Which is some cases you could say it's true if you truly do think this is going to be a bridge year for the team. I do think though the Red Sox are looking at Whitlock and going, we gave him this contract extension with incentives of him being a starter. So there's also that. I will say I am shocked. Mr. Taylor slightly mentioned him. No one went with Chris Martin though, and the fact that he doesn't walk anyone. So I know some people calling the anti-Diekman is also that. But moving on.
Can I just add one more thing on Whitlock? You look at the Red Sox prospects in the farm system. Pitching does not stand out. They need Whitlock to succeed as a starter, and that's why he's there. And I hope he does succeed. I mean, he's not going to be a top of your rotation guy. He's going to be a 4 or 5 guy, but they need him to succeed if this organization is going to succeed from within and not have to go out and reach out for free agencies to fill in those gaps in the coming years.
Yeah,
I'll also say this. I'll say this about
even...
Whitlock. Go ahead, Jeremy.
Okay, so the other thing, I know you're going to talk about Whitlock, but I think something else that needs to be talked about here too is we're talking about the depth of the bullpen. What I'm also interested in, how is Alex Cora going to handle the bullpen? Because there was questionable moves last year, and I understand they needed to get an arm out there because there are so many injuries. But I am wondering about that because that has been suspect. Like in 2019, it was suspect. Obviously, wasn't there for 2020, but even 2021, there were some moments where you're like, what is he doing? So that's what I'm interested in with this bullpen as well.
Yeah, I will say, before you go, Mr. Taylor, when he put Jake Diekman in the one game I went to last year in Tampa in July, when I still had faith in the team and hoping that they would turn it around, he put Diekman in the 17 pitches, 9 balls, 8 strikes. That's where I lost faith.
All I wanted to say about Mr. Whitlock, I don't know if I've said it before on the pod, but I want to get it on the record again. He's a great fucking human being. He FaceTimed my mom and talked to her for literally 20 minutes when I was in Fenway. So, Mr. Whitlock, if you do see this, God bless you. You made my mother's year.
He's a Texas guy, right?
Witt, I don't know if Witt is from Texas. I know Uvalde was from Alvin, which is not too far from Houston. But Waka was also a Texas guy. Didn't know that until I met him. Super nice guy too. Fucking tall, really tall. But
Whitlock's from Georgia.
He's from
yeah,
Georgia?
they have running water and electricity there too. I've been there. It's nice.
I don't know if they do where he's from, to be honest with you. Snellville, Georgia.
Snellville, yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus
I don't
Christ.
know.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Was it Blake Snellville?
They may have electricity.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe.
We're on a generator.
Stats Davis, man. We're sinking
Yeah. All right. We talked about the bullpen. They had a lot of change off the bullpen, but let's talk about another group that had to change. It had a lot of changes this offseason. That's up the middle. Obviously, no changes at catcher, but at shortstop, looks like Kike's gonna be playing short. Arroyo at second. Also brought in Adalberto Mondesi. Yu Chang is coming back. He could fit into that. Also some other pieces like one minor league deals like a Nico Goodrum. And even we can talk about center field if you want, with Adam Duvall also coming in to play center field. There are some changes up the middle too. How do you feel about that? And how do you feel like these guys fit into the roster construction of the team? And how do you feel about it as a whole?
Hello.
Who are we starting with? Was that directed at me? Did I just totally miss?
Yeah, if you want to go first, it's fine.
Yeah, sure.
That was for anyone.
Yeah. Bad. The answer is bad. I don't feel good about it at all. And everybody was kind of dunking on Duke Castiglione the other day because he asked a question to Heim that admittedly sucked. It was bad. And he was if he had reframed that question from being about leadership to just being about on-field proficiency, I would have been on his side. So in case you missed it, anybody listening, he asked if Kike really has the resume to be like the leader when you go from Xander to Kike. If you just reframe that as your shortstop went from being an all-star shortstop to a utility guy that you're sticking at shortstop, and Christian Arroyo, I love him. Great guy. Probably the guy I'm the closest with on the team, but he has not played a full year. So there's some injury proneness, and it's also, you just don't know how he fares after 130, 40 games. So I don't like that. Mondesi doesn't really play baseball. He plays a couple of games every year, but that's not really enough for me to feel anything. Yu Chang makes me feel negative things. And by that, I mean, absolutely not less than nothing. So it's bad. So I expected there to be something. I expected there to be a splash, or at least a guy who could give you innings. I'm wondering why Iglesias didn't fit that model for them, because I mean, Iglesias got 1 year, $5 million last year in Colorado. So I don't know why giving him $3 million is too much of a risk for them. I don't know what that's about. Maybe there's some stuff that we don't know about. I've heard some clubhouse stuff about him, but like, who knows? But I really believed a month and a half ago, when this looked like it would be our middle infield, that I thought like, okay, give it a break, give it a week, give it a month, give it some time, because we're not going to go into opening day like this. And I think we've had enough time to sit on it where everyone's gotten okay with it. But like, I think if we take a step back and remember how we felt at the beginning, I think that's a more accurate view of how we all should feel about it. It doesn't move the needle really whatsoever. And the thing is, your corner infielders are set. You obviously have Rafi, and then you have like your future all-star rookie first baseman, like top prospect. It's great, but your middle is so lacking. And I think even when Story was in the middle, it was still lacking, because it was like, okay, we're just going to stick Kike in there. That doesn't make sense. Like, are we going to do that, or is Royo going to platoon with him? What's the move? So we were already shaky on it before Story went down. A full year of no Story, which I would assume is the case, is worrying. But I'm always for giving Arroyo another shot. I would love for him to surprise us all and come out and rack up a 140 OPS plus and 17 jacks and hit 280. But I can't say that's something I would put my money on. So I think it's the weakest spot on the team right now. And then even like you said, even if you want to go into the outfield with Duvall, now there's like questions of whether or not he's even going to play center field all the time.
Or can he play center field and be productive? Because that was a little bit of a problem in 22 where he didn't start hitting until they moved him off center field.
Which is weird. And it's also a new center field, a weird center field. If I was a center fielder, I would not want to play for the Boston Red Sox. So
unless your name's Jackie Bradley Jr.
Unless I was the greatest center fielder who ever lived. Yeah. But I don't know. I don't feel great about up the middle kind of whatsoever.
Yeah, it's rough. It's definitely rough because you look at the corners, and I said this, I think last podcast, where Yoshida and Verdugo in the corners in the outfield, and Devers and Cass in the corners, even Turner at DH, those all seem set. It's just up the middle. That's the big question mark for this team. Because catching, Reese McGuire, can he do what he did last year when he came over full season? Maybe, maybe not. Who knows? Connor Wong, what does he look like at a full season in MLB? Who knows, right? Christian Arroyo, can he stay healthy? Who knows? Mondesi, is he going to give you 10 stolen bases in 5 games and then get injured for the rest of the year? Or can he play a full year? Can he play short every day? Who knows? Duvall, is he going to play center every day? That's where the question marks lie, I think.
Well, I think the issue that we see here is like last year we had a major problem with depth in the bullpen, and our starters went down with injuries, and we just got completely screwed by end of June. And I just feel like we've shifted one problem into another with this. Losing Xander was hard, and they were committed to trying to sign him. We don't know what the numbers are or anything like that for sure, but they tried to do it. It just almost feels like they didn't really have a backup plan. Like it was almost like, oh yeah, we'll get Xander and we'll be okay. Oh, Xander's gone. Oh, we'll put Story in and we'll figure this out. Story of course goes down. It's like I just feel like there wasn't really a solid plan there. And it is interesting because like Elvis Andrus is still out there. It's a guy, he can play defense, like that. And that's what we need, but that's not happening. And it's not like he's going to command a whole lot of money, especially now. I mean, we're getting closer to the season and he's still out there. It's like, what are we going to do? Because I mean, I love Kike, and I saw on Twitter after that comment he put out there, I got to update my resume. Like he's going to use it as billboard material, and he's that guy, and it's great for the clubhouse. And Arroyo, that's a concern, right? He's for all intents and purposes, he's not going to be there. Like he'll maybe give us 30 games and then he's got to sit for a little bit, and then he'll come back for 15 and then he's got to sit or something like that. So it really feels like we've shifted one problem to another, and now what are we going to do?
Yeah, this couldn't happen in a worse year. You got the rule change with the shift. You got 2 guys who you have no idea what their range is going to be. You knew what the range of Xander was. Was it starting to go off a cliff a little bit? Yeah, I think so. I don't have a problem with them not signing. And I'll catch grief for this from Red Sox Nation. I don't have a problem with them not re-signing it because it was a big contract. I'll carry the water for that. It's going to be Marcelo Meyer in the future. All the numbers show, all the scouts show that he is the real deal. And I don't believe that he's a 2025 guy. He looks like a major leaguer right now. Do I think he's here this year? No. I think he's more 2024. But I think that's where Heinz going with this. He just needs a bridge in that middle infield to get him to Marcelo Meyer. It's a huge risk on his resume, right? Use that. But it is what it seems like. It is what he's doing, because for months we had no idea what Chaim Bloom was doing. But going into this, yeah, I do feel really, really bad. Looking at this entire infield, they don't have any Gold Glove candidates. Looking around the entire, when I look at Chaim Bloom, I look at why did he put these guys in the lineup the way they are. He's looking for contact guys. He's looking for runs and hoping that this team is going to get them more runs that they're going to give up maybe on the field, unforced errors and literal errors. But it's bad. It's not going to be great. You're not going to see any Cal Ripken-esque or Ozzie Smith-esque plays. I mean, you might see one that comes from Kike. Yeah.
If Mondesi's healthy.
I mean, I love Rafi Devers, but he's not a Gold Glove third baseman, and this is not going to help. Mr. Taylor, I know you're the captain of
Here's
optimism.
the eternal optimist. Let's go.
Bring us back up to the clouds,
Yep.
to the golden heavens.
Get us on the duck boats, Mr. Taylor.
I'm bringing all you motherfuckers with me to the parade. I'll fly everyone in and book us rooms at the Hotel Commonwealth. Hear me out for just a second, and Joey, if I get too long-winded here, please don't hesitate to stop me. But when it comes to this fucking team, it's got fucking character. It's got moxie. These guys have a gigantic chip on their fucking shoulder, and they're professionals. So let's put our theoretically perfect world hat on and look at the starting nine. So you've got Yoshida in left, Duvall potentially in center, Doogie in right. I'll go to war with those sons of bitches. I think they're going to do great things. I think Doogie's going to come out and he's going to have a kick-ass year. He had a good year last year. He hit over 280, or I think he hit 281, something like that. 11 bombs, 65 to 70 RBIs, not bad. Then you get in the infield. You got Rafi Devers, your cornerstone. You're a 11 year, $330 million dude. His defense got better last year. It was the first year I've seen him play where when the ball was hit, I wasn't holding my fucking breath like I had, before. People put some respect on fucking Kike's name. He is a dog, man. That dude in 21 I think he hit around 220, 230, but he had 20 bombs, 60 RBIs, and he was Babe fucking Ruth in the playoffs. I mean, I think he hit 5 or 6 home runs in a short period of time. And yeah, he got hurt last year, but like I've said before, you guys go out in the backyard and throw a Frisbee. Your arm's going to hurt the next day. These guys are playing 162 games, grinding it out, taking their reps, doing their thing. Christian Arroyo, I love that dude. I want to meet that motherfucker and give him a hug. And he's got a great beard. But when he's in and he's healthy, he is a solid guy to have on your team. He's got a great swing. He's good with the glove, unless you put him at first base. I would not put that poor guy back
or
in
in right
base.
field, please, no more.
Or right field. But on the infield, short or second or even third, I think he's solid. Then you've got Cassis, who is, I think, going to hit 35 bombs. He's probably going to be around the 220 mark, but I think he's got 35 bombs in him, 80 to 90 RBIs, and he's going to have a ton of walks. And I watched him very closely playing first. He's got some good moves, and I think he's potentially a Gold Glover at first. I really do. But, I see a lot of negative tweets and, content with people just talking shit about the Red Sox going into 2023. I even went back and forth with this guy today, and I tried to be as positive as I possibly could. But I basically told him, I was like, look, dude, they haven't played one fucking inning in one spring training game, and you're ready to throw in the goddamn towel. I'm like, who hurt you? Did Chaim Bloom come over and take a shit in your front yard? I mean, what exactly is the problem? You're supposed to love the Boston Red Sox, or you say you do. It's all over your Twitter profile, but yet all you want to do is shit on them. And I think that's the wrong attitude to have towards this team. When we signed Justin Turner, the first thing I thought was, this dude is a scumbag. I love him. I'm glad he's on the team. 2013 vibes. I tried to get the hashtag feared the beard going.
I think you mean dirtbag, not scumbag.
Yeah, excuse me, dirtbag. My apologies.
Actually, he's got some scumbag
vibes. He's got some scumbag vibes too. Fuck that. I like scumbags. Those sons of bitches got character. But I really think this team is going to shock the world. I'm not just saying it to say it. They're going to shock some fucking people. Now, if they suck, they suck. So what? But if I'm right, we're in the World Series. And that's what I want. I want this team to succeed. I'll kind of give you an example. It's like people in the political world. People say, oh, I didn't vote for this guy. I hate this guy. I don't want this guy to succeed. And I'm talking about the presidency. Whether you voted for Trump or voted for Biden, why wouldn't you want the fucking president to succeed? Regardless of the party, why why are you actively not wanting that person to succeed? Same thing with the Red Sox. Why would you not want to root for this team, regardless of who's on the 40-man roster or 25, and regardless of who your starting 9 is? They're professionals. Give them an opportunity to do their job. And if they don't,
we could count on you, Mr. Taylor, to bring us back
for the optimism.
And I don't think any of us are against this team. I think we all have. There's a lot of good mojo on this team. There's potential, but on paper, it's scary.
There's a lot of ifs.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
But we could dissect any team. I'd love to dissect the Yankees because God, Yankees suck.
Cortez might be injured.
That's
Severino,
a dissection for another time.
The difference between you guys and a lot of the guys that I see on the different platforms is you guys are critical, but you have a baseball IQ that the average person does not. And you're also open to the idea, hey, these guys don't suck just yet, so let's give them the benefit of the doubt. Because even in 2022, they had that 1 month where they just fucking went lights out, and everybody was singing their praises, and then it fell off. The fucking wheels fell off. But I was still rooting for them every fucking game. I watched 180 games last year, Red Sox baseball, spring training games on Nesson, and then all 162. So every single game, I was hopeful. We're gonna, every time we got a hit, every time we got a base runner, here we fucking go. This is it. There's nothing wrong with that attitude. There's nothing wrong with loving the team, regardless of. I don't think Chaim Bloom is trying to fuck over the Red Sox. I don't think John Henry is trying to fuck over the city of Boston. I think they want to win. And I hope people at the end of the day, when we do win this year, that they'll forgive Mr. Bloom and they'll forgive Mr. Henry, because winning forgives everything.
It does. And I think where I am the most optimistic about this team is thanks to my good friend Steve Peralt. He said, do you think this team can go 500? And I was like, yeah, this team can go 500, play 500 ball all year. Yeah. He's like, okay, could you see them squeaking out 5, 6, 7 more games? Because now we're talking about an 86, 87, 88 win team. And that team gets into the postseason.
That's one hot stretch off of the 500. That's literally a week of playing great.
Yeah. Or a game a month that goes your way by a bounce. That happens too. So I think that is very groundedly optimistic to think you know what? I think I could totally see this team doing that. And that record is a postseason record. I think where I fell most critical of the team, though, is in what Chaim views as a worthwhile bet. I think a lot of the bets that he's taken are pretty low odd bets, or they're high risk bets. I guess is a better way to say it. Loading the rotation with some older guys. Interesting. Only picking up older fellas, guys who have never played in Major League Baseball. Interesting. But then leaving the middle infield the way it is. You're relying on a lot of things to go right. And if they all go right, like you said, we'll all have our apology letters to send Chaim and be like, yeah, you know what? You did it. I think it's just looking at what could go wrong. It is kind of a house of cards situation right now where it's oh, this could be beautiful if nobody moves. Don't breathe on this thing. Let it sit still. Because there is just a lot of, I don't want to say a lot, but there's at least a few notable weak points that I'm certainly hoping don't fall apart. My life, my mood, my literal job now is based around whether or not the Red Sox are doing well. I only want them to do well. So any amount of criticism that I'm throwing out there is solely based on the idea of hey, can we all talk about that? Maybe we can think of something here and get the crowd all on the same page. Because it's shown this very year, they admitted when Rafi signed his extension that they listen, that the fan voice is what pushed them to go and sign Rafi, because they couldn't do anything without being told, pay Rafi. and they were like, hey, I think the people want us to pay Rafi. Like the fans did it. So there is at
Boston
least
Bruins
somewhat of a
fans in
symbiotic
particular.
relationship there. What was that?
I said the Boston Bruins fans in particular on the Winter Classic.
Yeah.
I think that one's I think the deal was pretty much done by then. But I do definitely agree with the fact
I'll
that
go to
fans
my
did make it
grave.
happen.
They made it happen.
I do
Sure,
think fans made it
I'll give it to
happen. I
Beast
think the
fans.
deal's already done the day of the Winter Classic. They just had to finalize it. But yeah, I think too, the Red Sox fans are sitting there like, Rafi, pay him, don't pay him. We don't really care. Do whatever. Does he get paid? I don't know, right? And I think that's the big question mark. Does that happen? And yeah, Heim has taken some bets in 2021. A lot of those bets worked out. Hunter Renfroe worked out, and Kike Hernandez was all utility player in LA. Didn't play every day. Comes here, plays every day. Was really good. Hit 250 in 2021 with 20 bombs or close to that at least. There's a lot of bets on that 2020. Even like guys like Martin Perez and Garrett Richards, like they served a purpose on that team. Were they great? No, but they were good enough, I guess, if that's the way you want to put it. So it feels like this is the year where and last year they made some bets too. They traded away Hunter Renfroe, made a bet on, I get Jackie Bradley Jr. or whoever could have, the boogeyman. I don't know who it was. Didn't work out. Some of their bets last year didn't work out. So it's back in 2023. Do I think things go really wrong 2 times in a row? No, I think they're due for some more good luck in 23 than they had last year, because last year was bad. And they've already started off this year with some bad luck with the Story injury, so hopefully they're due for some good luck. Maybe that good luck is Yoshida being really good, because all we're hearing right now is good things about him. So who knows? I think it's just a thing of, are you optimistic about this team? And where do you where does the optimism and the reality kind of meet at it? Says like, this team could be a playoff team and could make a run, but also too, things still need to go right for that to happen.
It's just a waiting game. It's just seeing it.
Yeah.
I think it's so hard. I think anybody who has a hard stance on like what this team is going to be met with a reality that is not what they're imagining. Because I mean, there is a reality wherein there's no major injuries this year. Yoshida is like everything we dreamed of. And Arroyo is the second baseman that we needed. And Justin Turner is playing like he's 31 and not 38. There is a reality where all of that stuff goes great. Sale is who Sale was. Kluber has an up year from last year. Bayo has a breakout season. And like all those things go right. There's also a reality wherein half of those things happen. There's a reality where none of them happen. So it's just really hard it's really, really hard for me to actually put a tag that's like, oh, well, this is what's realistic for the team, because the floor is so low and the ceiling so high. If you have 3 major injuries at the beginning of this year, let's say
Rafi and Jansen and then like Sale or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, if McGuire goes down, like your catchers are Wong and Alfaro.
Yeah.
If
maybe they step up, but maybe
down,
they don't.
Does Jaron Duran, is he your everyday center fielder again?
Or is it Verdugo sliding over?
What happens? Like, there's a lot of question marks that happen there. Like, that's not a season that I would love to see. But I don't even want to think about it. I'm like picturing that stuff happening. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's rough. There's ups and downs. We don't know what's going to happen, and it's hard to put a number like on. Are they going to win 85 games? Are they going to win 75? Are they going to win? You don't really know, because there's so many variables that we just don't know. And we won't get a bigger picture of them until the regular season starts.
Right. And compared to other teams, I think that's kind of what we're looking at as well, right? We know what the Yankees have, and we know what they're. And, granted, their biggest move was Rodon, but they still had solid pieces in place and actually had a decent year last year. The Blue Jays, they're set. Their pieces are in place. The Orioles, right, in critical areas, they're okay. For us, I feel like we're good in areas, right? Like we talked about the corners, both infield and outfield. I think they're good, but a critical area is your infield for all major league teams, and I wouldn't even say we're okay there. And it's, if those guys can stay healthy, sure, like it's going to be great. And I think that's that's what to call out here with the Red Sox. We're such a wild card because in critical areas, there's some question marks. And in other areas, we're great. Whereas some other teams out there in critical areas, they're fine. But their depth, probably not so great.
I
This
think
feels
we
like the
had
Rays team of a while ago where they'd make the playoffs when everyone thought they're going to finish last in the division, where it's like you got Longoria and you got a guy like David Price, who maybe Chris Sale is like that version of him. And then there's just a bunch of role players around that play their role really good.
I think we had that just crap year last year, Joey, that you're saying that everything is going to go wrong, went wrong. It just, they could not put a continuous rotation, a starting lineup that matched from day to day. This year, on paper, this starting lineup, and I'm just curious to see what your starting nine it looks like. At least they look like some contact hitters. Going into the last couple of years, there was just so many holes. JD Martinez, and God love the Dodgers for picking him up because he fell off a mountain. I mean, and that mountain is Mount Washington up in New Hampshire, where it was negative 110 degrees about a month ago. But this team, they look like a good contact team. And I hope it is, but on paper, it looks like they're going to put bats on balls. They're going to get on base. The OBP is going to be up there. But I'm curious to see what your starting nine looks like.
Yeah, I mean that's something just to touch on what you were saying real quick. That's something that Cora really, really emphasizes is not only getting balls in play, but power. So even when JD was hitting 330 or whatever he was early in the year, Cora was getting on him saying like, "What are you, Ichiro? Like you're a singles machine? That's not who you are." So he cares about the power. He was talking about Verdugo upping his number of doubles. So he's a guy who wants the ball in play, hates strikeouts, and wants power. So I think that's what he's going to build a lineup like. He's also said something that kind of threw off my idea of what an opening day lineup would look like, and that's that he wanted to separate Yoshida and Devers. And Cora's always a little bit ahead of the curve with what's the new meta in Major League Baseball, and putting your most powerful bat at 2 has been the move for the past few years. So I imagined a Yoshida Devers leadoff, a 1-2. That seems to not be the case. So I don't know if he's rocking a more traditional cleanup role for Devers. But that is weird for me. I also know that Yoshi in his Welcome to Boston press conference openly said, "I've never been a leadoff hitter, but I'll do my best."
He said it today. I think he said that he hit 3-4 in Japan all the time. He never really didn't hit leadoff much.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know if he's even open to that. So, I mean, the idea of like Kike, Devers, Doogie.
They're finding a lot of lefties there. I think that's the problem too. They have like 4 lefties for like the top 6, especially with no Story now. I think it's definitely 4 lefties in the top 6, where it's like, okay, you're gonna have to go lefties back to back at some point, whether it's Yoshida, Devers. Well, it's gonna be 2 lefties back to back, whether it's some mix of Yoshida, Devers, Verdugo, and Casas. Unless you go 1, 3, 5, 7, then it feels counterproductive if Casas or Verdugo hit 7th, in my opinion.
Yeah. I don't know. He's talking about spreading out that lineup. I don't know. And as I'm going through it, I kind of like it more. You stick Turner. You stick Turner in front of Devers there. I haven't really built it out, to be honest with you, because like I said, I don't know how to follow all of the rules that Alex Cora has like laid out for himself, where he said that he wants to split these guys up. We know that he likes the traditional lefty righty, and we also know that he likes having the biggest bat in the 2-hole. So
my biggest question to you might be, Casas being a big walk guy, where do you see him? Where do you see him at? I mean, is he a 9 guy to get on base? I don't see him as a 9 guy. 6 at the very least, right?
I mean, 6, 7, 8. It so depends too, because your lineup is going to be variable. That when a guy like Mondesi is in over Kike, I guess. I mean, would that even be the case, or would Mondesi be at second? We don't know there. But when it's variable like that, we also know that like Turner's going to get some off days and that other guys are going to get DH slots. There's some talk about Devers maybe getting some DH days. So who's in at third? Is it Bobby at third? I literally have.
He said he might get some games at short in spring training too. So there's also that to consider. Which MVP of spring training, Bobby Dahlbeck.
Yeah, the Sam Travis Award.
Hey, Joey, can I ask a favor of you real quick?
Definitely.
My wife and daughter didn't believe that you were coming on, and it's my daughter's 18th birthday tonight. So
no
could
kidding.
you say hello to them real quick for me?
Absolutely. Hi, happy birthday.
Thank you.
The big 1-8. What are you doing for it?
Eating tacos. Eating tacos, and I went to the rodeo.
To the rodeo? That's the most Texas thing I've ever heard. That is comically
And I got my
Texas.
nails done.
Love it.
Wow.
Super
Nice.
mom.
I had
Thank
those same
you.
exact ones done. So that's
Yeah.
actually a crazy coincidence. Well, happy birthday.
Thank you for that, man.
Yeah.
You made
yeah.
you made her night.
Oh yeah.
Because when I told them that you were coming on, they're like, yeah, "You're full of shit. He's not. No, he's not." And I was like, "All right, motherfucker. Wait till he comes on." I showed him.
I like the fact that
Oh
you
my
call
gosh.
your daughter motherfucker.
It's a term of endearment. It's a
It
term
is.
I'm
of
learning
endearment.
so much about
Yeah.
Texan culture. I love it.
I have a hard time believing you didn't grow up in Boston, kid.
Right?
But they don't say motherfucker in Boston. They just say you fuck.
Yeah.
Right.
You
You're,
fat
you're,
bitch.
you're,
Yeah.
you're a fucking
It's all,
cocksucker.
yeah, it's all implied. The motherfucker.
Go down to Dunkies and get me a fucking coffee.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
we're getting off pace.
Yeah. All right, let's get
Yes,
to
we
our
are.
closing
Stats,
Going
bring
off
us
the
home
rails.
once more time. Stats and chats, man.
All right, this is our closing segment.
Give a little backdrop of what this is.
we call it stats and chats, where the guys have nicknamed me stats, and because I'm into all the metrics and all that stuff, and where we do it as our closing segment, where I give them either a stat that they don't know, and they have to try and guess what it means, or they have to try and guess like a leader for a certain stat or whatever it is, and it's just kind of our closing segment that we do. So it's open to the floor, everyone. The rest of you, not me, so the other 4 of you. There are 5 teams in the last 3 years. Well, actually, I'll start with this. Park factor is what's used to determine what's a hitter's ballpark, what's a pitcher's ballpark. League average is 100. There are 5 teams over the last 3 years that have a park factor of exactly 100. Can you name those 5 teams?
5 teams who have a park factor of 100.
Over the last 3 seasons? Yes, exactly 100.
And what is it again?
Park factor, which determines whether it's a hitter's ballpark or a pitcher's ballpark. So 100 would mean your ballpark is neutral between hitters and pitchers.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna say Petco is one of them.
Petco is not one of them.
What about the Kaufman? KC.
Yeah, Kansas
nope.
City. Wow,
Kaufman
that's
has a 103.
Oh, come on.
The Trop.
Nope, not the Trop. The Trop has a
wow.
park factor of 96.
Oh.
So you've only got 27
turf
more.
has gotta do it.
All right, Taylor, guess one.
In a way.
All right,
Oh,
so let's
God,
start.
no.
Let's start. There's 1, 2, 3. Actually, they're all 5 National League teams. We'll start with
Bush.
that. No,
Where do the Astros play?
they're not a National League
Minute
team.
Maid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
National League. All right,
There
I will
used to be a
go
National
with.
League team, damn it.
I will go with. To me, it's still called Miller Park. I don't care what they call it, but it would be American
American
Field.
Family
That's one.
Adventure.
American
whatever
Family
they call
Field. That's one of them. The Brewers are
Arizona.
one.
I love that
The
ballpark.
Great American Family Field Experience. Is that what it's called?
Something like that. It's a great ballpark, but that
Is
name
it
sucks.
the Coyote Dome, or where's Arizona play?
Chase Field, they're 101.
Oh,
Oh,
So close.
all right. Other National
that
League.
doesn't make sense. Chase
Coors?
Field is 101.
Yeah, because Chase Field, because they are very big doubles in triples park, but home run wise, their park factor for just home runs is 84.
The Brewers.
Jeremy just
Yeah, we
said the
did that.
Brewers.
Uh,
So, all right. So stats.
Marlins?
I'm going. I'm going out on a limb here, and because you always do this to me, so I'm going to go completely off the wall here. I'm saying Coors Field.
No, Coors is 112 has the
Okay.
highest park factor. I just say that they're not
Alright.
a home run ballpark like everyone thinks they are because they're a doubles and triples paradise.
Gotcha.
Reds.
Damn it.
No, Cincinnati Reds have a 111 park factor.
Wow.
Another good ballpark.
We'll start with this. There's one National
Alright.
League West team.
The Giants?
Is it Oracle?
It's the
No, you said
Giants.
the-
Oracle Park, 100 on the
Yeah.
dot.
All right, yeah. Give us the
That's
divisions
weird.
going
All right.
forward.
So you got the
All right.
Brewers. There's one more NL Central team.
And it's not Bush,
No.
and it's not Cincy.
Is it Wrigley?
Nope.
What are we
Who the
missing
hell
here?
are we missing? Oh, PNC. Pittsburgh.
Yep.
Ah,
Pittsburgh.
okay.
Yep. PNC Park.
Beautiful
Then there are
ballpark.
Yep. Then there are two National League East teams.
Shay?
Nope. And then Shea
Miami.
Stadium isn't even a stadium anymore, anyways.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Miami.
Nope, not Miami.
Where does the Phillies play? I
Well, it's
can't
got to
think
be
of their name.
Atlanta then.
yeah, so
We're
it's,
running out
Atlanta.
of East.
Atlanta is one.
yeah, so it's
not Philly.
Truist and Nats.
Yep, National Park.
Truist and Nats.
The Nats.
Nationals
So-
make sense. You'd think it would be like the cookie cutter parks. That's why I started with Kaufman.
Right.
Yeah, well, Kaufman's 103.
Yeah.
Park factor. It's
Yeah.
close, but
And-
yeah, because it's the Giants at Oracle, the Brewers at American Family Field, Pirates at PNC Park, Braves at Truist Park, and the Nationals at Nats Park.
Oracle is
Yeah.
strange just because their dimensions and their
Yeah.
their walls are so
Yeah, their
unique.
their park factor for home runs is 81, but their park factor for doubles is 111, and for triples it's 142.
Wow. Well,
Man.
because they got the alley. They got that
yeah,
alley.
that right center alley is massive. Yeah, all the others are generally around the
Right.
100 mark and
What's
everything else.
what's Fenway's park factor?
Fenway is 109 park
No
factor. They are 129 for doubles, 140 for triples, and 102 for homers
Wow.
over the
Okay.
last 3 seasons.
What about the embarrassment that is Yankee Stadium?
Yankee Stadium actually
14
yeah.
or other way. Other
Hold on.
way.
Yeah, hold on.
185.
Yeah.
Yankee Stadium.
Right
their
field is
park-
185.
Yankees
Yeah.
park factor is 99. There's actually 5 teams that have a park factor of 99. The Yankees are one of them.
Jesus. Hey, actually, and we'll move on from this, but I am interested now that we did that. What is Camden at?
Camden, I can't use
That feels like a cookie cutter park.
Camden over the
It-
last 3 years is 101, but the problem is they had the change in park dimensions.
Right.
So
Right.
that's not really
that's why I was
last
wondering
year they
that.
were a 97 park factor last year.
Okay.
Still
So-
close.
Still a
Man.
pitcher's park, not a hitter's park anymore, but so there definitely was a shift.
Well, Joey, it's been fantastic, man. I want to go to North End. I don't know if you own any places down there with that name. Your family's got to own a place in the North End, right?
I don't know if I can discuss off air. Yeah, some backroom
Gotcha.
stuff.
I'm not
the-
FBI.
no
I
front of
promise
house
I'm,
stuff.
I'm not FBI.
Right.
If you're looking to have a good time, you let me
But
know.
even though if I'm from Boston, if I'm FBI, I'm going to work with you.
That's true.
True.
Yeah.
Right. There's nothing wrong
Historically
with that.
speaking, yeah. Well, it's what they told my uncle, and now I haven't seen him in 20 years. So
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
All right, Mr. Taylor, you ready to wrap us up?
Yeah, we, Mr. Capponi, we wanted to say thank you again. If you would tell our viewers where they can find you on all the different platforms.
Yeah, definitely. So honestly, the easiest way to find me is through the podcast. So everywhere we are ITM_pod. You can find us there. And then my name is in the links. I'm not going to spell my name here because it's not the easiest one, but yeah, no, thank you very much for having me on, and wish you guys all the best. This show's been a lot of fun. So yeah, I really appreciate it.
And we can't thank you enough for coming on, man. You really made our nights. Thank you again for talking to my little girl in my bride. I actually have some cred now with the family, so thank you for that. But for everyone here at Off the Monster, for Stats Masterson, Mr. Jeffrey Brown, Mr. Jeremy, Mr. Joey Capponi, I am Robert Taylor. This is Off the Monster. Thank y'all for tuning in. You guys have a great night and go Sox.